DJ Firestarr, keeping it smashed.
To call one of the highest in the game. I'm a massive fan. I grew up on his music, his vibe. He's an inspirational figure, one of the hardest producers in the world, standout artist, music mogul, a creative, husband to the beautiful Alicia Keys. I gotta get that one in there. Mr. Zone, Mr. Showtime. Welcome, Swizz Beatz, my brother.
Thank you. Zone. Yeah.
How you doing, first of all, my guy?
I'm doing good. Everything's blessed.
Yeah, I super appreciate the time. First of all, you know, I know it's been a very testing few months for the world, you know, beyond that.
Absolutely.
So we've got loads to discuss. Before we jump in sort of to the music side, talking of, you know, the current situation worldwide over the last couple of months that we've all been experiencing as people, the COVID pandemic, alongside as well Black Lives Matter. Talk a little bit about the impact that it's had on you personally and the family and how you felt about things.
Oh man, it's a very trying time. It's hard to watch. It's hard to wrap my head around it and really understand what everything means, because it's happening for a reason. You know, is the uprising the beginning of change, or is just something that's happening during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And as far as being locked down in the house for all these different months is definitely, I don't know, it brought me closer to my family.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been able to be around my kids for that long period of time, probably ever, from being on the road. So that was good there. I don't know. It's just been weird. It's been weird. It's been good. It's been bad. It's been like a roller coaster.
Obviously, stateside, we're seeing from the UK looking out and seeing America. It's kind of seems wild right now. Kind of the situation out there.
It's wild,
you know?
For sure. It's wild.
So with that considered, the fact that people like yourself as a creative, the circumstances for people sort of wanting to still be entertained, they want to stay connected, they want to stay communicating, kind of leads me nicely on to the VERZUZ situation, which is obviously, for the people that don't know, a battle concept created by yourself and Timbaland.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit, about the relationship and the aim when you first started with the first set of verses.
Man, yeah, VERZUZ has been a blessing because although, you know, we call it a battle, it's a musical celebration, you know, and it's an educational celebration with artists that you may have forgot their songs and they're pulling out their best songs to celebrate with another artist. And to see hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, you know, actually break Instagram wanting to be a part of this has been super amazing. And me and Timbaland just started off having fun. Although we had the idea like 3 years ago, you know, it wasn't, when we had the idea, it was live, it wasn't digital, right? So it wasn't for social media. And then when the COVID hit, we just was like, you know what, let's bring the people some good vibrations by me and you just doing our thing, because, you know, you already had D-Nice DJing and you had people that already had their slot. So we wanted to have our own slot. And that turned into what everybody knows VERZUZ.
So it was kind of like you wanted to set something up to give to the people as a kind of a release to celebrate music, essentially.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, as the creator of that, to its current impact on the culture, the growth especially, I've seen the figures, as I'm sure you and the team have, like, how does that feel for you, you know, being one of the co-creators and the team to where it's at now?
I mean, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of, you know, connecting with artists, which which I do already.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with it. Put this on airplane mode and I still got a phone call. That was crazy. All right.
Yeah, we were talking about the impact to where, you know, how big it's become now and the impact that it's had on the culture.
Yeah, I mean, the impact that VERZUZ had and still has is now is not only just for fun. Like streams are going up 300+%, Instagram followers going up to the millions, songs being placed back on the charts that haven't been on the charts in years. The algorithm for, you know, all of those artists are starting to now add into even the younger artists that's out there now. And it's more of a balance because people want to hear from these artists as well, which I think is a plus because they're also talented just to be forgotten because something new and young is out. Like, I think that people should enjoy music as long as they live. You shouldn't have an age limit on it.
Sure. When it comes to VERZUZ and some of the sort of battles, as one of the as the man who, I know you often put it to the people who they want to see. You know, I've seen throughout the weeks, you know, and I'm sure I'll throw some names at you throughout this process, but you often, you know, you make it about the people, sort of for the people. Would you say that you've also touched on it having a staged phase for VERZUZ, like you've got big plans for it? Now, for a lot of the younger artists, their catalogs are maybe not as strong as some of the legends in the game, the older guys. Have you got a vision for incorporating them into VERZUZ as well?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But for right now, I just love the celebration of 20 songs, 20 hits, because it stays educational like that. Once we let everybody in, you know, it can kind of get, you know, not taken serious.
Yeah.
You know, so the way that we're looking at doing it is going to be a very unique way and a very respectable way where it keeps its quality.
Yeah, it's got to have that. It's got to have that quality control sort of aspect
for sure.
Every single time, right?
Yeah.
What about a VERZUZ tour? I mean, is that definitely in the works? Can we 100% expect that in the future?
Yeah, I mean, that part of the plan was we had before when Digital was doing a VERZUZ tour.
Right.
So, you know, a lot of people are already asking to be a part of it, and the people are already asking for it whenever we can go outside.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you think a lot of that, you know, the concept as well comes from, you know, the battles that you've also had? You know, I've seen you battle with Kanye on stage, and I was at Summer Jam when you did the Timberland. So there's always a face-off and that element of record for record. It's just something that's like instilled in the culture.
I love it. I mean, that's how hip hop started. You know, hip hop started with seeing who music can affect the people in the biggest way. And so, like, I've always been a fan of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the verses I wanted to touch on, there's so many highlights, but I want to touch on the Jamaica verses. the BEENIE Man and Bounty Killer. I mean, it connected with music fans worldwide. Talk about the global response to that, and how was that as an experience for you when you set that up?
Man, it was one of the best experiences, although I thought it was going to be hard because of how far it was.
Okay.
You know, GIGGS and the team that was supporting them was really on point. And even BEENIE and Bounty's numbers and streams went up by like 300. And BEENIE put out a single, working on an album now. It kind of felt like it brought Jamaica back to the forefront, you know?
Yeah.
It really shocked me with the numbers they did, the people that showed up, the memes, which is a big part of it. Don't be
Massive.
That guy. You know, all of these different skits. So, man, I'm happy for those guys.
We've got Sean Paul hopefully scheduled for the residency forthcoming. Now, his catalog alone, for me as a fan of the music and what VERZUZ stands for,
Yeah.
He's one that I would put straight in. Who? Sean Paul. Sean Paul. Well, I was going to throw the question to you, but you've asked me first. So maybe a popcorn. Maybe a popcorn. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, what do you reckon?
Sean Paul versus Popcorn? I think Popcorn is super dope. I just think that Sean Paul era goes a little bit earlier.
Okay.
You know, so you want, when you're doing the lineups, you want the era to be almost
matching.
Almost matching. Don't have to be 100%, but I feel like Sean Paul probably got a lot of bigger crossover records for the time that he's been out.
Of course, you would have seen the talk states between T.I. and 50. I mean, what's the latest on that? Is that even a possibility, or is that something you're working on?
That's something that they're working on. You know, look, we monitor it. You know, if it's something that the people want and both of the artists are agreeing to do it, then, you know, then it's cool. But I haven't really seen 50 engage like how I thought he would to want to do it, you know. So I don't know if 50 want to do it, but if he do, I think it'd be a good one. Yeah,
100%. I just think getting 50 to step foot in the arena to do a versus would be a moment in itself.
Yeah, but the thing is, it has to be a mutual agreement. You know, it can't be one person feeling like they want to do it, and the other person's kind of like, you know, not really into it as well. It takes, you know, we make these matches look easy, but you're talking about two super successful people agreeing on the same thing. That's very rare. You know, so T.I. went at him kind of hard, you know. Yeah, very hard. So we'll see, you know, we'll see. I would love to see it.
And obviously the last couple of battles have been, you've had the guys, you've had the people together, you know. Is that are you happy for them to be separate? Is it just however it goes down, you get it done, or do you always want them sort of in the same vicinity?
I mean, I like them together because we can monitor the quality better. That's why, since we've seen them in the room together, like there hasn't been no sound and quality issues. So we figured out being in the same space works way better. Yeah.
So another question that I had for you was, I just want to know, what was JADAKISS drinking in the battle with Fab? Because he was definitely drinking some.
He was mixing Douce with rap.
That was certainly a favorite for the rap fans, you know, that one.
Drunk.
So let's talk versus UK. I know you knew the question was coming, and you've spoken about it before. What can the UK expect regarding sort of your plans of where you want to take versus for us over here?
Well, just like over here, like, you know, a lot of people hit up verses on Instagram, and people usually put out names and that they want, you know, and so I urge that for the UK as well. Like, you know, who do you guys want to see on verses from the UK? Because we definitely doing a UK edition for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
is it in the works, or are you still, is that some way away? Can we expect that? Do you think we can expect something this year for the UK, or?
Yeah, I can see this year for sure. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the subject of the UK, you know, you're no stranger to being out here, growing up stateside. What, for you, looking at the music and the vibe that we have out here, how do the cultures differ to what you've grown up on stateside to what you see here?
I think the passion, you know, I see a lot of passion with the music in the UK. I see, you know, I like that it's different sections of music, extraordinary songwriters, extraordinary producers. And I love that, you know, the artists are like super creative and honest with themselves, and a little bit hard on themselves also. But it's always been a big vibe for me.
Yeah, you're out here a lot, and you know, you've connected a fair few times with one of our own, which is Hollow Man GIGGS.
Yeah.
I can't, I have to touch on that, Swizz. I have to touch on the relationship between you two. You know, I've heard GIGGS talk about it many times, about the genuine relationship, the fact that he is obviously a worldwide rap artist. And like a lot of us in the UK who love rap music, we grew up on your sound and rap stateside. So what's it like for you when GIGGS breaks down sort of the appreciation and the love that he has for you, and you understanding the icon that he is kind of for us here?
It's very simple. I just feel the same way he feel about me is the same way I feel about him. You know, we connect on a brother level more than a music level.
Yeah.
Although we've done music together, but you know, like I spoke to GIGGS like a day ago, you know, just having conversations, just checking in, just saying what's up, just seeing how the family's doing.
Yeah.
Like, those are like real things, you know, not just calling people when you need something or when you want something, you know. So me and GIGGS established that type of relationship, that type of friendship where we just check in just because.
And I mean, have you got a story of maybe like one of the first experiences of when you met GIGGS, how it was, how it opened your eyes to kind of how we do things over here compared to like in the US when you first like linked up maybe?
I wouldn't differentiate how it's over there and here because, you know, me and GIGGS are both real people. So that's what we connected on. You know, he reminded me of DMX in a lot of ways.
Wow.
And so I was just like, man, like his energy, you know, his body language, just everything just reminded me of like DMX. And I was like, man, like that's a person I want to work with. Like his voice is crazy.
Absolutely.
And so when we connected, we was already fans of each other, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was happy to meet him. He was happy to meet me. And then the rest was just history, you know? So it wasn't like I came over there and did something so different. Like it was just like meeting a real person anywhere in the world, you know? I was comfortable.
So do you think when it comes to sort of connecting to the UK, is he your number one sort of, one of your many sort of connects out here, but he's somebody that you trust massively kind of with what's going on out here, I guess?
Definitely. I never got a reason to think otherwise.
Sure. And you've got 2 records that you've done, Come Again and obviously Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator, both of them actually are just bangers, but can we expect a hella more music from you two in the future without a doubt?
I just asked him, I was like, man, I want to send you some beats, but I think, you know, he's real picky with the tracks.
Right.
Very picky. So we'll see, you know, maybe I can earn my way on some more tracks.
I hear that. So the first time, just quick, going back to when you sort of first connected with GIGGS, where did you first meet up? When you were over in London, where did you first connect?
I think we connected at an event. I don't remember which event it was. I think we connected at an event and then connected afterwards that event and just kicked it.
Well, Swizz, I wanted to ask you, like, the landscape's obviously changed now going forward. You know, we've touched on VERZUZ earlier in the show. Going forward for things like the live shows and the sort of entertainment industry, the precedent that you've set with VERZUZ, what kind of value has it showed you into that kind of, you know, that kind of area and that kind of way of doing things?
I mean, it showed me that if people can't move around, this is the option for that.
Right.
You know, now when people can move around, it probably not going to be as strong as an option, which is why we would go live in person, right? So when people can't move around, it's the number one thing, you know, and it's been cool because people have been moving around and it's still been the number one thing. But you could tell the difference, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, in line with the way we've all lived our lives so far to maybe how we're going to have to live you know, things, the way we're going to have to live sort of going forward. What advice would you give to people that have maybe been struggling throughout this period of kind of change? They've maybe been directly affected, they've lost loved ones or struggled with the restrictions. You know, you're one to sort of embody passion and the zone and the spirits at all times. So what advice could you give, and what do you do to keep yourself in the zone, essentially?
Oh man, I think that, you know, sending blessings to everybody that have been affected during the situation, and, you know, wish you to stay strong and stay creative, zone in on yourself, and try to correct the things that you don't like. Use this time wisely. That's what I've been doing. You know, I've been, you know, creative verses, like, you know, like that didn't cost any money, by the way. So it's not about, you know, oh, you can do that because you have money. No, we just did an idea and just went, just trying new things, you know, so people should just try new things and just step outside their box.